Yeah, Samantha and Val, Alderman Brian Hopkins tells me this morning the shooting allegedly stemmed from a fight at a nearby bar. Dozens of gunshots were fired right by the intersection of Division and Dearborn here in the city's Gold Coast neighborhood. And now the alderman says he's taking action following the overnight violence. Chaos in Gold Coast.
22 West Division, 4 people shot.
As more than 30 gunshots ring out near the busy late-night intersection of Dearborn and Division overnight. Investigators say 4 people, ranging in age from 22 to 60, were hit in the gunfire fired from nearby cars. All of the victims are expected to be okay, but the brazen violence springing neighbors out of bed.
We hear gunfire in this neighborhood frequently, mostly people leaving bars, fighting with each other.
There's a real problem happening here on Division Street.
Second Ward Alderman Brian Hopkins says 2 of the victims shot are security guards who were working at the time for a nearby bar. Hopkins says the shooting stemmed from fights that allegedly broke out last night at Gold Coast Social, a nearby nightclub. He says this isn't the first time problems have erupted there, prompting him to now take action.
I have requested a summary closure. I've already been in touch with Superintendent Snelling's office to let him know that this written request would be forthcoming.
We reached out to Gold Coast Social for comment, but have not heard back. Hopkins also says at least one of the people shot last night, a woman, may have been caught up in some sort of fight at the bar, though this morning it's still unclear what fueled these alleged fights in the first place. He says police officers were already on scene before, given the busy night, and saw 2 cars without license plates circling the block before shots were fired.
We had over 30 Chicago police officers on the street at the time of the shooting. It just shows how blatant and bold these criminals are, that they'll open fire with an automatic rifle in the presence of over 30 police officers. That didn't seem to intimidate them at all.
Now back here live in the Gold Coast neighborhood, Alderman Hopkins also tells me that surveillance cameras from nearby businesses actually captured that shooting. We're told detectives now have that footage, but so far, no arrests have been.
They never arrest anybody, and that's one of the problems. How you got 30 police officers in Chicago that's around, and they circle in the block, which means that they should have pulled over in the first place. And you not only do they kill a bunch of people, but y'all used to them having violence in this particular place, and they still get away, and y'all don't arrest anybody. But then they sit there and tell us that crime is down in Chicago, and that they don't need the National Guard, they don't need ICE, they don't need HSA, they don't need the FBI, they don't need the ATF, they don't need nobody, they got themselves. They got it. How do you circle the block a bunch of times with no license plates, meaning that they weren't being pulled over at all? And it's a bunch of police officers. They come back and kill people, shoot up everybody, including 2 police officers, 2 security guards, 4 people shot down, a bunch of shots fired, drive-bys, and everybody get away with it. Listen, like I said, I think that the people in Chicago at this point actually deserves themselves, and I feel so bad. I do. I feel incredibly bad for the people that are suffering, right? Because there are a lot of people. And I think that that's one of the reasons why the Trump administration is like, yep, we got to, you know what I'm saying? We got to get people in here. We got to fix this thing or whatever, because there have been for a long time a lot of people calling for the Trump administration. Even before he was in office, they were saying that it's getting so bad, they want to get Brandon Johnson out of there, that the budgets in Chicago, especially now that it's ballooned over $1.5 billion year over year, that the budget in Chicago is absolutely trash, that the mayor's running the city into the ground, that they down well over 1,000 police officers, that, you know, this whole community prevention thing is not working. And so when we see this type of stuff happening and we see things playing out the way that it's playing out, and I get these, you know, videos literally almost every day, and then I even choose not to respond to them because I almost feel like my audience is becoming numb to the violence that we see happening in Chicago. But then I have to bring it back occasionally just to remind people, like, yo, these are the same people that chose not to participate, that told Trump that they don't need the National Guard, that said that they got it. They ain't really tripping about it. Meanwhile, you got to hear shots fired on a regular basis and crime and corruption while you're sleeping at night and you trying to get up to go to work in the morning. And how does that work out?
Exactly, Erica. Gold Coast Social owner says he doesn't believe this morning's mass shooting originated from his bar or had anything to do with his establishment. But Alderman Brian Hopkins says different.
I have requested a summary closure. I've already been in touch with Superintendent Snelling's office to let him know that this written request would be forthcoming.
A bold gesture from 2nd Ward Alderman Brian Hopkins. The alderman says they've had a lot of trouble with Gold Coast Social in the past. He says the mass shooting appears to be directly connected to the business. Those who live in the neighborhood echo the alderman's claims.
I've just noticed over the years that there's a lot of problems over there. There's been shootings there before.
Chicago police say a gray sedan drove up on Division and started shooting at people on the sidewalk.
We heard just gunshots from St. Louis, and I've heard gunshots before, but this sounded a lot more powerful. And it looks like there's about 30 different bullets on the ground.
The driver then took off down Dearborn. 4 people were shot. A 22-year-old woman was shot in the leg. A 60-year-old man was also shot in the leg. A 45-year-old man was shot in the foot, and a 24-year-old man was shot in the forearm. All transported in good condition. We did some digging and found out Gold Coast Social was previously called Play Kitchen and Cocktails with the same owner. In 2021, the building was hit by gunfire, its window and a TV smashed. And in 2019, the owner signed a liquor license plan of operation for Play that mandated additional security.
I don't see these other problems in any other bars out here. It just seems that it seems to be coming from there.
We asked the owner of Gold Coast Social about the alderman's allegations and problems under their previous name. He says their operational model has been very different since then, and he's calling this morning's mass shooting a random act of violence. No one is in custody from this morning's shooting. Reporting live in Gold.
Yeah, it's bad. That's pretty sad, bro. It's very bad and it's unfortunate, and we all know what it is. We know what the culprit is, who the culprits are. I can't even say, because I don't want anybody to lose their income. So I wouldn't say, oh man, I want the bar shut down or whatever like that. Maybe he needs to take additional precautions. Maybe he needs to do this. Maybe he needs to do that. Maybe he needs to remove a certain element. You know, I don't know. Maybe he needs to hire police officers to be there. The older people that probably got shot because they said that it was 2 security guards, possibly it was security guards. He had security guards there. I don't know if that was enough. Was they armed? Whatever. But what I do know is that the fact that this stuff continues to happen and people feel comfortable enough to actually go and shoot some people and do a drive-by shooting when all of this is happening, and it's really just a matter of convenience and opportunity. And so, you know, me personally, I avoid these type of environments and these type of situations because I don't ever want to be in these type of environments. But at the same time, the people that live in these neighborhoods and that is above these places, they shouldn't have to be subjected to it. And, you know, it's like I said, it's just bad. I think that Chicago, I don't even know what the solution is for them. Because, again, on one hand, I'm like, yo, maybe they just need to stay wherever it is that they are and just deal with whatever it is that they're dealing with. They said that they got it. And on the other hand, it's like, nah, you can't just continue to subject people to this and have them be under duress. So I think that the majority of people that have resources, a lot of them considering these new taxes and stuff that's trying to be implemented to cover these budget deficits, I think that these situations, they're going to be moving anyway. It really doesn't matter. So those that are left are the ones that, you know, won't be able to move, and maybe a little bit of those, or a lot of those people are the ones that are saying that they don't need help in the first place. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. I'll keep y'all in the loop.